Hey everyone, this is Ryan from Aethix Fitness, and you're listening to the Aethix Approach podcast, where we cover all things vegan, fitness, and nutrition related, and chat with inspiring and influential vegans who are out there leading by example. If you haven't already, it would really help if you subscribed to, liked, commented, and or shared any of the content I'm producing, including this podcast, free articles and training programs on aethixfitness.com, videos on YouTube, and more. I truly appreciate all you guys for the love and support. In today's episode, I speak with Adrian Lozano, a California-based vegan life coach and yogi who helps others transform their life through mindfulness practices. Adrian himself has struggled with anxiety and depression in the past, which caused him to seek his own journey of self-improvement. Through exercise, yoga, diet, meditation, positive thinking, and therapy, Adrian was able to completely transform himself over time into the happy and positive person he is today. Adrian continues his pursuit of personal growth and development and has a passion for helping others undergo the same transformation that he himself has and continues to undergo. Adrian is a very upbeat, kind, open-minded person, and I learned a lot from our conversation. It was a pleasure speaking with him, and I hope you enjoy the chat. All right, what's up, guys? This is Ryan from Aethix Fitness, and this is the Aethix Approach podcast. I'm here with Adrian Lozano today, one of my old clients, and well, not old clients. We're still working together, I guess, but we formed this beloved friendship now, so it's more than just working as clients and such now. So this is Adrian Lozano. He's a life coach, and we're going to have him talk about some of the stuff that he does, give a little introduction about himself and everything. And yeah, Adrian, thanks for coming on, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on, Ryan. Thank you for your time and attention. It's really an honor to be here. And yeah, so I'm Adrian. I was born and raised in Southern California. I'm currently living in Los Angeles right now. And I've been here for about 3 years. And like you said, I'm a life coach. I'm also vegan. I create content online as well, relating to mindfulness, healing and growth and the kind of inspiration and all that. And through my, online platform, I actually just got a new gig, and I'm the digital marketing strategist for a CBD startup company.
Oh, sweet.
I did that as well. I just got that recently. So that came through my online social media. They reach out to me, and so I have that going for me. And also for my day job, which I also have, I work in IT.
Oh, cool. Okay, you're a busy guy, man.
Busy guy. And then I do a lot, but I also like everything that my practice and all that. I'm a yogi, so this allowed me to create more space for myself to breathe, and I can do a lot more things than I was able to before. So
okay,
yeah,
cool.
I keep busy.
Yeah, that's awesome. I feel like so this CBD thing just came up just via Instagram or something, or?
Yeah, I have a buddy that has a startup company, and I know him, but he was like, dude, because they saw my platform growing and the way I just, create content online, they really liked it.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about it, they asked for some advice, and I was like, I could do this for you. He's like, really? He's like, yeah. So he kind of just started like that. And now I have this now a new relaunch, and I have just this brand new thing now.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
I feel like more and more good things keep happening to you lately. So I'm really happy to hear that.
The universe is putting a lot of things my way, man. It's a blessing, and I'm just riding the wave.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's a thing. It's like when you put out that good, positive energy, the universe reciprocates it.
You're right. Yeah, it is. It's coming back to me. So it's such a blessing, man. It's really makes me happy.
Yeah. So what made you get into the whole, the mindfulness practices and stuff that you're into? Yeah, so that, it kind of a beautiful beginning starts with a dark ending. So that was kind of with I used to maybe about 3-4 years ago, 3 years ago, when I moved out here to LA, it was a very fast-paced lifestyle. And growing up, I've always had a lot of anxiety and social anxiety too. You talked about this before in the past, but I had social anxiety, and it kind of manifested after a while into depression. And I would use I guess coping mechanisms that weren't healthy. I didn't take care of my body, and then I would drink, party, and then eat crappy food. So I wasn't taking care of anything. And my mind, body, and spirit was just so out of whack. And kind of I reached this point maybe when I was 25, where I was like, man, this cannot be life. I was just doing the rat wheel, going to work, having no energy, coming back, having no energy, and just kind of living for the weekend. Cause I was my escape, where I could do things that, to escape life. And living in LA, there's a lot of big mindfulness movement out here. So I had a friend that took me to
meditation center, and that kind of like opened. That was my first intro into meditation, and it was a rough start because someone has a lot of anxiety, like sitting still, and all this was very hard for me to do. So that I guess like my anxiety and depression kind of like allowed me to walk into the world of mindfulness.
Okay. So Vipassana meditation, that's the first one you got into at first?
Vipassana meditation, and that, yeah, Vipassana meditation is like a style of
Vipassana.
meditation. Yeah, it's a practice. It comes from a Buddhist lineage, so it's a Buddhist way of practicing meditation. And basically, what it is, it stands for insight meditation. So it's a way of transforming yourself through self-observation.
Okay.
So as someone that has anxiety, or well, social anxiety too, a lot of times before I was in my mind a lot, like really in my mind, and really like always thinking about like too much, like about the past or the future or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And meditation, or Vipassana meditation, is just the practice of observing your thoughts, and then observing your emotions as they come in without judgment, without kind of like too much into it, kind of just just being, almost like it's not about becoming anything or going to any end place. It's just simply about being with your thoughts and your emotions.
Okay. That's really interesting to me because I also grew up with really bad social anxiety like my whole life. And I still think I deal with it a lot from day to day. But I also recently read well, not too recently, but a couple years ago, I read a book called The Power of Now, which I think you're familiar with.
I'm
You know
actually
that
just
one?
finished. I'm finished reading it right now.
Okay. I thought we talked about this,
Yeah, we
but
did.
that really reminds me of what you're talking about now. Just trying to live in the moment and really just accept each moment for what it is and not think about the past or the present so much because you can't control that, you know? But that whole idea really helped me. I guess it's like something that I try to really remind myself about a lot, just to focus more on the present moment, what you can actually do rather than the future or the past, which you can't really change directly. So
Yes.
that's like the same idea with the meditation kind of.
Yeah, so I mean, mindfulness is just the act of paying attention to the present moment on purpose. You
Okay.
don't have to sit in meditation or do yoga to be mindful. It's just that through these practices, it cultivates a greater sense of awareness of being mindfulness. So
Hmm.
like I'm mindful throughout the day. Like now when I'm standing in line, instead of like being on my phone, I kind of let myself be in the moment. Like I'm being mindful right now in this conversation. I'm fully present and I'm fully engaged in this conversation. I'm not thinking about other things. So I'm mindful throughout the day, and just like through my mindfulness practices, I can cultivate a greater sense of awareness of being mindful.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I feel like I need to I also need to focus on that a lot more still, but that's awesome that's working for you so well. Do you feel like that in particular is what really helped you overcome your anxiety and depression overall?
No, so
Oh
I
no?
actually started, no, because I mean, it's funny, like I actually started meditating about 3 years ago, probably,
Okay.
but it wasn't until I did yoga, which is 2 years ago, and then therapy as well. So yoga and
Uh-huh.
therapy allowed me to, because my meditation is hard. I'm not gonna lie, it's hard, and it's like it's easy to tell someone to sit there and like focus on your breath and focus on that, but like it's harder to do, and also like to just do it, like to sit in meditation and 10 minutes or whatever it is really hard to do. So I think for
Uh-huh.
me, yoga and therapy, because I was lucky enough where I was able to find a studio that was in my therapist's office, the same building.
Hmm.
So sometimes I would go to therapy and then yoga the same day. So it
Okay.
was like I went to therapy, I did that, and then I
Uh-huh.
went to yoga right afterwards, and I was like I did that. So it was like a whole like I did that for a while, and it was that like yoga, therapy, and then meditation as well that really allowed me to change my life, because I was still, even though I was practicing meditation here and there, like it wasn't a consistent practice. I knew what it
Uh-huh.
was. I knew the power of it, and I saw these thoughts, but it still wouldn't. They would still come up.
Yeah. So could you, between all those three, I guess, did you realize that one helped more than any of the other ones? Or was it kind of like a joint effort between all of them?
Yoga was the one that changed my life. Yoga for
Really?
sure. Yeah.
Wow.
So and
Okay,
yeah,
so I don't really know anything about yoga or meditation, or therapy really. I'm really interested in hearing about all of your experiences with that. Like as someone who has also dealt with so much anxiety in my life, like I'm really curious about what that was like for you in general.
yeah. So I'll start
If
with
you want to start
therapy.
with if you want to start with yoga, I guess, because you just
Okay. Yeah. So about yoga, forget everything you know about yoga in the West. Like yoga, people just think that it's the physical asana practice, which is like the physical poses that we do,
Okay.
that you see on Instagram and like all that. And it is much more than that. Like I started it initially for cardio and to kind of get like, because I was trying to lose weight and all that.
Uh-huh.
But I realized that it's much more than that. Like yoga is an actual philosophy. It's a way of life. It's a way of living. It's a way of being. So yoga has like much more. There's 8 limbs of yoga, which
Mhm.
is like 8 kind of foundations or ways of living, and asana is just one of them. So what we see here in the West is just 1/8 of what yoga actually is. The other ones
Okay.
involve meditation, breathing, self-study, ahimsa, which is non-harming, which I'll get to later about that, and just other ways of being like that really embody what it is to be a yogi.
Mhm.
And for example, like for me, like I practice yoga on a mat maybe like 4 times a week, but I practice yoga every day.
So how did you get into yoga so much beyond what is usually taught, I guess, like in Western culture, you said, right?
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to have these teachers that go teach beyond the mat. That's what they
Okay.
call it. So like, they taught the philosophy. So in the classes, they'll tell you like, this and that. And also it was my curiosity. Like it was my curiosity of also going beyond. I started reading books about it because
Mhm.
I saw yoga as a science. I
Mhm.
saw what it was doing to my mind and what it was doing for my anxiety, like breathing and like physically, like everything, mind, body, spirit. And I was like, man, this is like kind of like changing me. But then I was curious and I was like, why is it changing me? And then like,
Yeah.
so I started reading and I started like really like, watching videos or like just being like, I guess, becoming like obsessed with it. So yeah, I was like
Yeah.
just obsessing over it and I was like learning everything about it. And
Yeah.
there's just like, and I realized like, wow, yoga is much more than just the actual practice itself. It's a way of healing. It's a way of growing. And it's a way of transformation, which is what happened to me.
Okay. It sounds like it is meditation is kind of incorporated a little bit into the yoga that you practice then.
It is.
Okay.
And like for me, as someone that has anxiety or had it or whatever, it doesn't really go away. But as
Right.
someone that
Yeah.
lives with anxiety, yoga really, because what all yoga does really is it prepares the body for
Mhm.
meditation. Like we do this practice for about an hour or so, and after this practice, you build up, you warm up, you build up heat, and you come down, and then you come down for shavasana, which is corpse pose, which is like the meditation part of it,
Okay.
and you sit down for like 10 minutes or so. But because you did so much energy and you released a lot through your breath and all that into the body, that at the end of it, you're just in this place of stillness and you have like, it's like a deep meditation where you're like, everything is just released out of you. Like you sweat and everything is just kind of there. And then also like it allowed me to sit in meditation outside of yoga
Mhm.
a lot better, a lot smoother.
A lot calmer, and you could actually hold like position for a lot longer, basically.
That too, like my back in the beginning of yoga, I mean,
Mhm.
in the beginning of meditation would hurt and I wasn't able to like sit still for a long time and like even my legs, but then now I can sit still for a good amount of time. I have sat the most was like 1 hour.
Just straight and just sit up sitting, nothing else.
Yeah, that one was hard because like I took this class and I didn't realize it was gonna be for an hour. And then they're like, oh yeah, so we're gonna sit for an hour and I'll ring the bell when it's time. I was like, what
In
the
complete
hell?
silence too.
In silence. So like, I wasn't still completely still, but
Yeah.
yeah. And I've also like, one thing that's funny is when I started doing meditation, I went to a meditation retreat and it
Mhm.
was a Vipassana meditation retreat. And this retreat was a silent retreat.
Was it
So
like a whole weekend?
it was 3 days,
It was
three
three
days
days.
silent retreat. I was with 200 people in the desert in Joshua Tree, and we weren't able to talk to each other. We weren't able to look at each other or like make body contact because you can speak through your eyes and through your body language. So we
Uh-huh.
weren't able to do that. Like I said, don't open the doors for anyone. Just like focus on yourself. Don't distract anyone from their experience, and just
Mhm.
be in the present moment. And that was an experience for myself too. I didn't know what I was getting myself into.
And we're not used to any of that at all in day-to-day life. So that probably felt so different for you.
It did the first. I mean, I wanted to leave the first day. I was just because like I couldn't like this was like maybe like 6 months into me doing meditation. So I was very new, and I was like, man, like as I was sitting, I was like, I can't do this because I have like anxiety and my back hurts. So
Mhm.
I wanted to leave, but because I have social anxiety, and as you know,
You
like with
couldn't
social
get out.
anxiety, whenever you're in an uncomfortable situation, you can't really say things. Or for me, like I would
Yeah.
get stuck. So I was like, the fear of me having to go up to, and telling him that I want to leave early. I was like, fuck, I can't do that either because
Yeah.
so my social anxiety kept me there the whole weekend.
So it's kind of like a blessing and a curse in that situation, I guess.
In this one, yeah, because I stayed there. And then afterwards, I really was able to sit better and like focus and not, and guess also like just be there. And I did learn a lot. I learned a lot from that weekend. So it was a really good weekend. So I'm glad I stayed. I'm glad I had social anxiety.
And yoga is a pretty good workout too. So I guess it strengthened your core and your back and everything there too. Is
Yeah.
that what led you into fitness also? Yoga? Or were you into fitness before that?
So no, it was kind of, it's funny. It all kind of went hand in hand. Like a circle, almost like, going vegan,
Yeah.
being into fitness, and so working out and then yoga. But fitness became first. Like I was in the gym before yoga. I was just trying to find another way of doing cardio and
Okay.
of building the core and all that outside of the gym. So
Mhm.
that's where yoga came in.
Okay. What did you do in the gym before you got into yoga?
The bro split, like kind of
Okay,
like,
bro split.
oh, like I'm gonna do the chest this day and back this day, and that, which I was like, I did have muscle and all that, but then I got injured, like, as that's kind of how we met. I got injured
Yeah.
because I wasn't, and that's too, like, I wasn't being mindful, like I wasn't really uh, present when I got injured, and I hurt myself, and then that kind of, it's funny because because I couldn't work out anymore because of the pain that I had, chronic pain. So that is what got me deeper into yoga, because I was like, well, I can't lift weights, so I want to do yoga and meditation, and that's kind of what led me down that path deeper.
Yeah. And just for anyone who doesn't know, you had what is it, TMJ? Is that what it's called? Right?
Yeah, it was TMJ because I
Okay.
hit myself with a barbell, and then like it pressed up against my jaw, so it would get inflamed, and it hurt so much. Like I had chronic pain, and I wasn't able to really do things like talk for a long period of time, or work out especially,
Mhm.
or like it kind of put me in a weird spot. But I find the lightness in every little thing I do. So that the light that I found out is like I realized that my body is not permanent, and like my body it's a vessel, but I can't fully be attached to it, because at any time it could fail me. And what really kept me going was my mind,
Mhm.
and my spirit, because there was a point where I was attached to my body in a way that my body was looking, and I was like, well, it's not going to look like this because I'm not working out. So I could have gone in a deep hole, but I kind of walked down, like, the path of yoga and meditation, and then it allowed me to not be so attached to my physical appearance.
Yeah, okay. It sounds like you really changed a lot since back then too.
Oh yeah, that, like, in itself was like a big shift in myself, and like physically I changed, but mentally and like everything, like people were like, who is this new person? Like I had a transformation. I literally transformed myself.
Do you think that was could you contribute that to the TMJ? Like the injury there? Is that kind
Um,
of what led you all to
I
yoga
mean,
down the path?
no, I was already doing yoga. No, TMJ was a part of my journey. It was like
Okay.
another lesson I had to learn, but it wasn't
Okay.
what the like. No, the part that was led me was like my destructive path that I was on, and where I was like, man, this is not working out. And I kind of like, I feel like it was my rock bottom. Like I don't think I'll ever feel that way that I was feeling at that moment.
Mhm.
And it was like my rock bottom after that. Like the only way out was to go up.
Yeah. So what was that I don't want to like pry I don't want to get too much into your personal life, but what really caused that whole depression and that anxiety get so bad, like to spiral out of control there? Do you feel like it was a
Honestly,
Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
oh yeah, sorry. It was a combination of things. Like my sleep was off, my energy was down, and like I said, I also had like problems with like alcohol. Not like I was an alcoholic, I was a binge drinker. So I would go
Okay.
on the weekends, hang out with my buddies, and binge drink, and that threw me off my whole week, because I was hungover, and then I kind of was like
For
a
sure.
routine, and then so I wasn't an alcoholic. I know that, but I was a binge drinker, and also I didn't my diet was bad. So like my body was just like not like, I think the biggest thing for me was having low energy. Like I
Okay.
didn't have energy or motivation, and those two things like really was like, oh man, like I don't want to live like this.
Yeah. When did you end up going vegan?
2 years ago. Oh yeah, so I forgot to say that I've been vegan for about to be 2 years in
Okay.
October. So next month I'll have my 2 year anniversary.
Oh, nice. What are you gonna do?
I don't know. I want to do something special. Like I was thinking about, well, obviously eating vegan food. So
Of course, of
from a
course.
vegan restaurant, like something good. But something I was gonna ask you, like I want to do something meaningful. Like I don't know if it's gonna be like planting a tree or picking up trash or doing something, maybe donating. I don't know. I want to do something meaningful that
Yeah.
we could do during COVID. Do you have any ideas?
Man, I don't know. Are there any animal sanctuaries you could help out at that are open?
Not right. I mean, there are, but they're not open right now.
Yeah, I don't. How bad is LA right now overall? Is anything open?
I don't watch the news anymore because that gives me anxiety. But
It's true.
things are closing. Yeah, things are still closed. Like restaurants are open, but like as far as like public things, they're pretty closed. But I heard actually today my friend told me that's getting worse.
Oh,
Apparently,
really?
the gyms are not open still. So so that tells you that it's
They're
still
just
not.
opening up in New York City right now. But I feel like I'm still too. I'm like at a point where I'm not quite ready to go back.
Uh, yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, they were opening up over here. Remember when I was telling you, like, oh, they're opening up, but then they ended up closing the next month. So I
Uh,
wouldn't hold my breath on that.
yeah, no, I'm just trying to be careful and not trying to be a part of the problem. But yeah, man, I mean, I don't know. There's not as much to do as normal right now. Like you said, planting a tree would be nice. Something little, but like it's a cool little thing you could do. Then from there on, you could watch that tree grow the longer you're vegan.
Well, my whole life.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So you could just go back to that tree and be like, oh, this is my 2 year vegan anniversary.
I'm not like Miley Cyrus. I'm kidding.
Yeah. I think she was like plant based for I think since 2013. So that's pretty disappointing about her, man.
Yeah,
These
it's
celebrities.
every time you hear this, you're like, oh man, another one down.
I know. And I just heard about what's his name? Mike Tyson. He just quit too on Joe Rogan also.
I feel like he's paying these vegans like to say this. Can
Yeah.
you be? I'm just kidding.
I know
I'm
Joe Rogan
kidding.
loves hearing that too, so it's
I
so
know,
disappointing.
I know it is, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah, I mean that's why people can't just like get too attached to the celebrities because who knows why they're really in it, what they're really in it for.
Yeah, I agree.
Um, so anyways, we kind of touched on like your history with anxiety and depression and stuff, and like what mindfulness is and everything, and your whole experience with yoga. Um, but so when you kind of, how do you feel now compared to back then, I guess, and I guess how would you compare your everything you feel now compared to who you were?
Yeah. So, well, before that, I wanted to touch on therapy, which is one thing we want to talk about, right?
Right. Let's do that. Let's
Yeah,
do
yeah,
that.
yeah. So therapy, man, this one, and I'll. This is my best advice for therapy. Like before I saw another therapist, and the thing about therapy for it to work, you have to find the right person, and you have to interview them just as much as they interview you, and there has to be that connection. So my first therapist that I saw, it wasn't there. Like he really didn't get what I was struggling with. Like, I told him I had trouble with anxiety, depression, and he was like, he wanted me to give me medication. He's like, you could have this medication. And I was like, dude, like, I didn't come here for this. Like,
Yeah.
I want you to help me. I want you to listen to, I didn't feel like I was listening that day. He just like was so quick to like give me a Band-Aid fix. And I was like, nah.
He
So I
wasn't even a
didn't,
doctor.
no, no. So like, I didn't go back. Well, he was like a psychotherapist. So yeah, technically he could have prescribed it, but yeah.
Right.
But, and that was a big letdown. So I didn't go back for like, I was like, okay, this is not for me. And I kind of, but when I was in the yoga studio, I saw another therapist's office, and it seemed like more like my style, like more a little into like spirituality kind of stuff and like that kind of mindfulness based technique. So
Mhm.
I was like, okay, like I'll give that a try. So I gave it another try, and my first therapist, like he was also like kind of like a Buddhist in like the philosophy way.
Mhm.
So we kind of resonated on that. And he like his style of therapy was a lot of mindfulness based techniques.
Okay.
So my biggest thing about therapy is like we had this connection and we learned a lot of tools and techniques that I could use and that helped me out. And then, sadly he had to move. But when I met another therapist, I told him like they matched me. I'm like, hey, I need a therapist that has these things, like this is their values and this is what I value. Like this is the
Mhm.
only way that it's going to work for me. And luckily they found someone that has the same values as me, kind of like, similar values, but,
Yeah.
and, it was a great match
Uh-huh.
and she's been great. And I see her every week now. And so it's been a blessing during COVID. It's been like, I love therapy. Like I love seeing my therapist. I'm an advocate for therapy. Like I would tell anyone to do it. It basically, like, for me, with anxiety, it helps to have a professional there, like, tell them in this space, this person that does not know you or anyone in your life, and for you to tell them like your thoughts that you're struggling with, and they really can sit there and be like, well, they kind of ask you certain questions, they teach you tools and techniques to like really empower yourself to
Mhm.
get out of your thinking mind and just kind of change your way of thinking. And it's called like cognitive behavioral therapy.
Yeah, I
So
looked
you
into
really,
that before.
yeah, so you see like, you know your thoughts create your behaviors, and your behaviors create action.
Mm-hmm.
So, like for example, I'll say like for me, drinking and all that stuff, that was a behavior caused by my emotion. I'm sorry, thoughts create emotions, emotions create action. So my drinking was a behavior that I had caused by my emotions. My emotions were, anxiety, depression, and that was caused by my thoughts.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So once you learn that, then you're able to, take a step back, and maybe when the emotions come up, don't give in to those emotions. Or maybe when these thoughts come up, don't give in to those thoughts. And then
Yeah.
the behavior won't happen.
And that's what causes the whole downward spiral there if you do give into it. I've looked into CBT before, and I've heard that's like it's the best therapy for social anxiety specifically. Is that what you experienced, that you noticed it helped a lot?
It is, but like it takes time, and it's a whole process. Like it's a healing process. So it takes time. It's a healing process, and I also do like what's it called? Yeah, ACT therapy, which is acceptance therapy. So it's like a lot of like accepting what is, and accepting like the your being in that way. So it's kind of she does like different types of therapy, but yeah, CBT, ACT therapy, and all that. And what's crazy is that a lot of what I learned in therapy are tools and techniques that I actually use towards my clients. So I do like a CBT based approach. I don't do therapy, it's coaching, but like, yeah, a lot of that things that I know from meditation, yoga, and therapy, I use for my clients, and it empowers them, because they're all tools and techniques that anyone could use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were saying how you found this new therapist after your other one left, right? Who helped you find that new therapist? Was it like a network?
No, it was the therapy office. Like they have like intake counselors, I guess.
Okay.
And like I would tell them like, this is what I want. So like for you or for anyone listening, like I would really sit with your values and be like, okay, like let's just say if you're Christian or whatever, like I want someone who's Christian because they're gonna resonate with me. Or if you're LGBTQ, like I want someone LGBTQ because they know what I'm going through. Or they have some for failed actors over here in LA, or no, sorry, for failed writers, because the therapist used to be a writer, and there's like a whole thing of writers that need therapy. So yeah, like it's whatever niche you're in, you could find that, and someone that is really kind of speaks your language.
Wow. So they can get that specific too with it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've seen it. Yeah.
That's pretty awesome, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's really interesting stuff. I looked into some therapy stuff for a while before, but I never pulled the trigger because for me, insurance was a big problem. Like I just never wanted to pay the money because I've always been so frugal. But I did look into CBT and stuff before and thought that was super interesting, and kind of like read about that for a while. Did you do any exposure therapy?
No, I didn't do that. I don't really know too much about that.
Yeah, I was reading about that a little bit too. I just read it something like it could be like going down a list of things that from like mildly anxiety inducing to like extremely anxiety inducing for that specific person. And maybe one thing they'll try to chip away at it. So it'll be like, having a small conversation with a checkout person at a grocery store, and their goal will be to go out and have a conversation with like someone at Trader Joe's and they're checking out or something. And it's like those minor victories add up over time, and you keep trying to get to like number 10 on the most anxiety inducing list and tackle it. So it's the idea of just exposing yourself to the most anxiety inducing situations. And I think it's kind of like CBT in the effect where it's like, okay, you do it once and you're like, that wasn't that bad. I'm alive. I lived. And that's the whole goal there, just to expose yourself and show that you can get past it, and you're not going to have you're not going to die or something.
Dude,
I mean, what's the worst case scenario?
that's funny. I kind of did that to myself without knowing what it was. And it's
Oh, really?
funny because like, yeah, like as someone that has social anxiety, what I started doing was creating content online and making videos.
For
And
sure.
as I started making videos, I was like, oh wait, people are watching them. And then I was like, oh wait, so I'm not tripping over my words, and then just doing things more like, and now I'm doing this. So now I'm on a podcast and I'm not anxious, and I'm not, I'm relaxed and I'm chill.
Yeah.
So now I can, I'm practicing to teach yoga, and now I can teach yoga in front of people and not trip over my words. So like it was slow though. It was like first making videos online, and then, expanding my platform, and then kind of like I started to record myself like live, and then kind of like, so yeah, I technically I did do that.
Yeah, definitely. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do with myself too. And I guess it's not so it's not really intentional, but it's kind of like trying to pursue the whole, making YouTube videos, recording myself, watching how, because I used to hate hearing recordings of my voice and seeing myself
Mm,
talk. I think everyone has gone through a phase like that.
me too. Yeah.
And so that's been really helping me over the past, I guess, year or so, just seeing myself talk on camera and being like, thinking that it might be so hard in the moment, but then over time, just getting better at it. And, it's one thing leads to another. And then hopefully in a couple years, I'll be really good with speaking on camera. But right now I'm at a point where I'm like, okay, I say like way too much. And I'm just trying to catch myself from saying that.
I do that too. And first off, I want to say that you are doing a good job.
Thanks,
Don't
man.
say
Thank
like,
you.
yeah, I've watched your videos and you're doing a great job. You're doing fantastic. Like, a lot of things about anxiety is that people, even with me, people be like, I can never tell that you have social anxiety. So I can't, I couldn't tell that you had it until you told me.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I also say like a lot too, or but that's, I think with time, like we'll get better at that. And it's just like, it's just like a thing, like a filler word, which I'm knowing that. So like trying not to do that all the time, but also
Yeah.
being compassionate for yourself and being non-judgmental, like, oh my God, you did it again.
Yep.
Just
Yep.
with time, it'll get easier.
Because I've also noticed if I pay too much attention to that while I'm talking, I can't talk right because I think about it too much. You know what I
And
mean?
that's anxiety talking.
Yeah. And those ums and those, they add a little bit of time for you to think in between sentences and such. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So with time, George, I think breathing helps. I think when I do that, I'm just like, instead of saying or like, I just breathe.
yeah. Yeah. I have to read more. I've been listening to a lot of audiobooks and I love it, but I really have to sit down and just start reading more again. Do you read any books right now?
Yeah, actually, I have an extensive library. Well, I mean, I'm packing some away, but I have more. Like, I just finished with The Power of Now. I just
Yeah.
bought two. Let me grab them real fast. Yeah, I'll just go to bookstores and buy books. So, like this one, An Introduction to Zen Buddhism. This one,
Oh,
it's
cool.
exciting. Yeah, yeah. This one I'm really excited about. This one's called Zen and Psychotherapy.
Okay.
So it's a book that pretty much brings the whole Zen lifestyle or practice to like the practice of psychotherapy, and they're really, like it says here, like they're intertwined and they can really help each other in the same way. So I'm like really excited about this one.
So
So
you really get into the studies of meditation and such.
oh yeah, I live, I breathe it. I mean, if especially if I'm going to be working with people and like
Right.
practicing with people, I have to live it myself. I can't just like preach it and not do it myself.
Yeah, of course. Plus you love it, right?
I love it. Yeah, I love learning more about it. So like the more that I learn and the more I can teach others, I really instills it in myself more. So yeah, I'm
Yeah.
really into this.
One thing that I've always noticed is that if you really love something, it doesn't feel like work.
Oh yeah, not at all.
Yeah. I mean, I've always pursued fitness as like a side job, but it's something that I really love and I would do it no matter what, and I'm sure yoga, meditation, everything is the same for you.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's something that I'm passionate about, and that's why like when I coach people, it doesn't feel like work. It just feel like, hey, I'm just helping out my friends or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You are actually really the one who inspired me to pursue coaching. And because at first, I was like, okay, I like this, but you know what I said to you is like the market's too saturated. Everyone does coaching who's in the fitness. What do I have to offer? Even though I really do love helping people. And you just kind of gave me a pep talk and I feel so much better about it now. And I can really appreciate I can really appreciate just helping people for what it is and not thinking too much about it just because everyone does it. I can be that one person who maybe really helps somebody. And also forming those connections feels so good. And I'm sure you experience the same thing.
Yeah, and like speaking from a former a client of yours, if anyone listening is wondering if Ryan is a good coach, he actually isn't. He's a great coach.
Oh, man. You almost
So
got me
like,
for a second there. You had me in the first half, not going to lie.
oh man, you're a great coach, and like like the way like you helped me out so much with my own, like I all those were home workouts, and I didn't have to go to the gym. I didn't have to go anywhere. You were so nice. Like I never felt like, oh man, I gotta talk to Ryan this week, or like I was always like, okay, he's gonna help me out. You're always so knowledgeable and so like easy to talk to, and that's why I said like when I remember when I told you, I was like, dude, like yes, other people do it, but nobody does it like you, and like because you're you, so you don't know out there who needs to your help the way that you can do it using your voice, and like people know you through your social media and your YouTube, how you talk, how you're kind of goofy and all that. So you know
Yeah,
that
yeah.
a lot of people out there aren't as nice, so aren't as approachable or whatever, or like just want to do it to get money. But you like you said, this is your passion, and like you said, if you could do it, like you would just do it anyway. So yeah, like I think that's yeah, I'm glad that really inspired you, that That's
It
cool.
really did. It really did. And I really appreciate it because I honestly think if you didn't say that to me, I don't really know if I would have been pursuing it right now. It would have just been the kind of thing where it's like, if someone reached out to me, maybe I'd consider it again, but it was kind of like, I was just going to let it go and just not worry about it. But I really do enjoy it. And I really appreciate that talk. Seriously. Like at the time, I don't know. It really meant a lot to me though.
That's
So
awesome, man.
yeah, I really appreciate that. So I can also vouch for Adrian's skills here. He's super motivational and just like I felt so much better just from the short conversation on social media with him. So I can only imagine working with him would really help a lot of people.
Thank you for that. Yeah. You know what? It's funny, like coming back to like our relationship and how we met. I think it's in life. I think like there's moments that are really synchronistic and that the universe aligns things in a certain way. So like we met on Reddit and I don't browse Reddit that often, but I just so happened to browse it that day.
Mhm.
And like you were saying like, oh, I'm coaching people. And I was like, oh, I want like sign me up. But like, it was just weird. Like, cause I wouldn't normally like have asked, but I think I was in a point in my life where COVID just happened and I was getting out of a relationship. So I wasn't like, and I wasn't working out. So I was really
Right.
unmotivated and it's just like, it just aligned perfectly in what yeah, so that worked.
Dude, yeah, it's so awesome. How would you say, just kind of, we're talking about like home workouts. How would you say the home workouts were for you overall, and how have they been compared to being in a gym?
For me and where I was in my life because of my injury, it
Yeah.
really helped me out. And it really like it was what I needed at the time because like I couldn't go like really hard. And I was, as you saw, like I was able to gain muscle and
Yeah,
like
definitely.
with like not that much heavy weight, like the heaviest I was like 50 pounds.
Yeah.
So the consistency and also like just being at home, like in LA, like there's a lot of traffic. So like going to the gym is like, a whole day thing
Yeah.
sometimes. So I think just being here at home and it just really allows us to focus and like be here and like be fully present because I don't have to wait for anyone to get off the machine
Right.
or any of that stuff. I just really just got to work and I really just focused and dedicated. I think having you really helped me out because I'm like crap, like I have someone keeping me accountable, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it. So yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing about having a coach, feeling like someone is really counting on you to get it done, and you're kind of promising that person that you'll do it. So you don't mind the home workouts now, then?
I think I'm gonna keep them honestly.
Really?
I
Okay.
mean, I don't know. I'll see. I mean, but like not like I'm gonna go to gym anytime soon, anyway. So
Yeah. Yeah. Would you wait if the gyms open back up? Would you wait a while? You think?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Just because, yeah. I mean, the way things are going right now, I don't think it's gonna. Yeah, I'm just gonna wait.
Right. Yeah. So just to so we talked about therapy and meditation and what was the third one you had there? Yoga, right, right,
Yeah,
right.
yoga.
So we talked about those three things that really changed you. So comparing who you are now to who you were back then, do you like yourself way? What are the differences? The biggest differences there?
The first thing that came to mind was he said you like yourself, and I don't like myself. I love myself.
Okay.
A big part of this was my self-love, and before I didn't know what self-love was,
Hmm.
and I didn't have it. Obviously, like I was doing these things that were not of someone who would love themselves, and they having these thoughts, having these limiting beliefs, and all of this that someone who loves themselves wouldn't really have. So that was my first part of my journey, was finding that self-love. And as men, we're not really taught how to love ourselves.
Hmm.
So that was the biggest thing, is loving myself. Now I love who I am. I love my mind. I love my body. I love, it's just like, that was the biggest thing. And yeah, now even on my worst days, on my bad days, and nothing compared to my worst days before, like, I'm not always positive and happy. Like I get sad too. That's part of being a
Of
human.
course.
I feel everything. I feel other emotions too, but now I have tools, techniques, better ways of coping. Like if I have a bad day, I know to breathe it out. I'll go do yoga.
Hmm.
And I always feel better after yoga.
Hmm.
Instead of going to a bar, I'll go to yoga and I feel better. Like that's my new bar now.
Yeah. No hangover either.
No hangover. So like, yeah, I guess like it's like night and day, Ryan. Like it's night and day, like who I was before to who I am now.
Yeah.
My relationships are better. I have more intentional relationships. I also I'm really mindful of who I have in my life. Before, I had some people that were pretty toxic, and I was toxic too in my own way,
Hmm.
and it wasn't really that conducive of my growth. And now, like, I surround myself with people that are positive, people that are inspirational, people like you, people that really kind of build me. And in a way, like I build them. So like I support people's growth, and I like people who support my growth.
Yeah. Of course. What was the first step you think there to learning how to really love yourself?
The word that comes to mind is surrender. I had to surrender to everything that I knew.
Except to your issues at the time or something, kind of?
Yeah, except it was a surrender, like just like, and people think that surrender is an act of weakness, but it's
Mhm.
not. It's just like just giving yourself up to like a higher power, or it's just like being like, you know what, like I'm broken and it's
Yeah.
okay. Like I'm working towards it, and like just that was, yeah, I guess acceptance. Yeah, accepting of where I am
Okay.
is the same thing. Yeah, so that was like the first step, was knowing that I needed help.
Hmm.
And I was able to get it with therapists, yoga teachers, meditation teachers, and people in my life that really were there to help me. And I think a lot of times when I was going through my stuff, I thought I was a burden, and I wanted to do it alone, and I thought I could do it alone, but you really can't. And that's why like it's really important to have people in your life that are professionals or are good at that kind of stuff to help guide you along the way.
Right. I think a lot of people really need to hear that too, because a lot of people really have negative thoughts. And I think
Hmm.
it's something it's hard to unlearn. And clearly you've really gone through what it takes to go from rock bottom to really pushing to who you are, and physically and mentally, you're also trying to better yourself in every way still too. So it's not just like acceptance and complacency. It's like consistently trying to progress too, but accepting where you are, right?
Yeah, like I'm still working out. You know, like I
Yeah.
want you to build me a new plan, a new program. And
Yeah.
I'm still reading books. I'm still like, I have a coach too. I have like a spiritual coach that's helping me out with like other things in my life that I'm still working through the stuff as well. I still have my therapist. So
Yeah.
I have lots of help in my life still, but this is all for the greater purpose of allowing me to be of service to others. Like the more I work on myself, the more I can be of service. I can already help people now, and I have been, and I am,
Hmm.
but I'm learning more, and I'm gonna like be a greater capacity and to be able to reach other people and just help other people, which is what I really want to do. I want to live a life of purpose and a life of service.
Hmm. Yeah, I love that, man. That's something that I need to hear more often. I really appreciate the positivity overall because, like I said, a lot of people they're not that positive, especially lately with everything going on with COVID. It's really easy to get sucked into this negativity, and that's really great to hear. So I appreciate that, man. I'm trying to live that lifestyle too.
Hey, we can all do it, and that I think just I don't know. A lot of times, sometimes you gotta turn off the negativity stuff. Like our minds cling to it. So like I was watching news a lot in the beginning of COVID, but like as
Sure.
someone that has anxiety, that was making me have anxiety. And but because I have this awareness, I'm like, okay, this is causing me to have anxiety. So for right now, I'm gonna turn it off. If
Hmm.
something bad really happens, I'm sure someone will tell me. I'm gonna hear
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
I just can't. I can't be glued to this. I can't be stuck to this negativity.
So if someone came up to you, like I know this is very general, but if someone came up to you and they were where you were before, I guess, what would your first tips for them be?
That was actually how I got to coaching. Funny you say that.
Really?
So I had a friend that came to visit, and we went to a Dodger game, and he had an anxiety attack at the game.
At what
And
game?
Dodgers baseball.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So he had an anxiety attack, and I was like, "Holy shit! Like, what's going on?" And he was like, you know, having an attack because a lot of people or whatever. And then I sat him down. I'm like, dude, what's going on? And he's like, oh, I have anxiety and depression, and then, like I drink a lot. And I was like, holy crap, like you're me a year ago.
Hmm.
And then I was like, hey man, like I want to help because I felt like it was a cry for help, in a way because I witnessed it and it affected him and he felt really bad. But I was like, hey, you know what, like I can help you out because this was what happened with me a year ago. And I was like, the person I am now, I'm different. So I was like, let's try this life coaching thing where, I'll meet you every week, I mean, via Zoom. And we sat down, we met, and, it was new to me. I'm like, but he put his full faith in me and, and trust and for me to walk him, it was him that did it. I just walked him through it.
Hmm.
And, this guy, like he ended up, it's so amazing. Like it's been like a year now, and a year later he lost weight. He transformed his mindset to lose weight, and also he at the time he like hated his job, so now he went back to school, quit his job. He's now trained to be a programmer, so he's going to school for that, computer programmer, which is awesome.
Wow.
And he now, before he was too anxious to exercise, and now he like exercise. He's in a bike club, so he
Hmm.
has new friends, he has a new life, like new mindset, and he has ways of coping with his anxiety, and he doesn't wake up with having anxiety in the morning anymore. So that's kind of how it happened. And then I was like, holy crap, like this felt so good for me to do. And it was easy, not easy, but it was effortless.
Right.
And it worked and it helped them. So I was like, oh, maybe there's something to this for me.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. So you've seen it firsthand. People really change.
Yep.
That's amazing. So I'm kind of curious. This is one thing we haven't really touched on too much. How do you think, how do you think everything that you do in general with mindfulness and your meditation practices, the person you are now, the self-love you have for yourself, how do you think that ties over into veganism and why you're personally vegan?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you for asking that.
Yeah, of course.
So it all started, I guess my vegan journey was about like 3 years ago, maybe, when I was into meditation. I'd say it kind of hand in hand. But, I was overweight and I wanted to lose weight, and I knew that veganism was a way to do that, or plant-based at the time. So initially I got in it for selfish reasons, and that was my own health, but then I stayed for the animals, of course. So then like.
Me too.
Okay, cool.
You're
So,
not alone.
yeah, you gotta admit it, right? Where you come from. But yeah, like, hey, we're here now.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
so, initially it was for that reason. And I did lose weight, but I was vegetarian for a while, and like I wasn't fully there yet with the whole veganism. But meditation and yoga really helped me out, because what meditation does is it creates a cultivation of compassion and empathy for yourself and for others. And I took it as far as like for all living beings, not just humans. So I have a high sense of compassion and empathy for, every being. That includes myself. So, and then with yoga, there is one of the limbs of yoga, or, in there, it's ahimsa, which is non-violence. And it's actually like this, what I have right here. It's a ahimsa, I guess the symbol of it.
Oh yeah. Okay. I know.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's a little hand thing. So yeah, ahimsa is non-violence, and that.
Oh, that's what it means. Because I've seen it so many times, and I never knew what it meant.
Yeah, I mean, there's different. Yeah, but the one for me is non-violence, and for me, like you can interpret it in many ways. Like, not everyone that does meditation and yoga is vegan or plant-based. A lot of them are, but for me, it was like, okay, non-violence to all living beings, and as we know, veganism is the greatest act of non-violence that you can have. And also, it was non-violence against myself, not harming myself through these animal products, and non-violence against the earth. It was really like just, so that allowed me to, once you have a greater intention than just, I want to be healthy, that intention wasn't as great of a purpose as, it being bigger than myself. And when it was bigger than myself, it was easier. Like, and then I'll say, like, going full vegan was not easy for me the first year, because I'm Latino and we eat a lot of meat, we eat a lot of animal products. It was just like I had to unlearn everything.
Yeah, it's
but
a big cultural thing.
Yeah, it's a cultural thing. And also in LA, there's a taco shop at every corner. So it was like my friends still eat all that, and like I'm the only vegan in my family. So it was like very hard at first, but that's why I'm so excited about my second year of being vegan, because this year it was effortless. This year it was like, oh crap, like I'm excited. I've been doing it. I learned a lot about, how, the diet and all that, and how to properly, give myself the nutrients that I need. And it's just, now it's like a lifestyle. Like I'm okay. It's, it's not something that I'm learning. I learned it and I just ran with it. So it helped me out a lot.
Yeah. Just what you do at this point. One thing, so my sister lived in LA for a while, and she always raved about how good the Mexican food was specifically out there. And I had this place called Doomie's Next Mex in LA. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, I've been there.
So that to me, so I had Mexican food in LA when I was probably like 18, and before I was vegetarian, and I remember how good it was. And then when I went out to LA, last time was probably 2 years ago, I got maybe a little more, but I got Doomie's Next Mex, and I was like, damn, this tastes just like how I remember the LA Mexican food tasting, but it's vegan and it's like fucking delicious. So that goes to show that you can eat anything vegan, anything that isn't vegan as good in a vegan form.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And without the guilt, obviously, like you said, it's guilt-free.
Very compassionate lifestyle.
Yeah, definitely. That's really cool to hear, man. So we're kind of closing in on about an hour here. So I just want to touch on where people can find you for your life coach stuff. And like the best way for them to get in touch with you and everything.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm more on Instagram, and that's at Lozano, Lozano, dot period, flows, FLOWS. So yeah, and that's where like I post on there, like I create content for mindfulness, positivity, inspiration, all that kind of stuff. And then I also like I'm gonna do group coaching as well, where if people aren't ready to do the one-on-one coaching, I'm gonna do group coaching. And also my biggest thing is my group is my one-on-one coaching, and that's where like that's a whole transformation of the person of the mind of whatever they want to work on.
Mm.
And a lot of it, my three pillars are mindfulness, healing, and growth. Because I first kind of ground my clients, and we get focus on the breath and being out of the thinking mind and back into like the mind body experience. And then once we ground ourselves, then we can see the healing aspect where, okay, I can see why I have these anxious thoughts, or I can see why I have this anger or this depression or whatever it is, loneliness or this attachment to whatever it is, like, maladaptive habits that we have. And then the last part of my program is the growth part. And that's really where the magic happens. And you start to build these habits that are healthy, this new way of thinking, this new way of being, this new way of living. And it's really awesome to see that. It's like the most rewarding thing I've ever done. I've never been this happy in my life to help people in this way.
Yeah, you're obviously very passionate about it. So I understand why it's so nice for you to have other people experience what you experienced already, All right, cool, man. So besides your life coach services, any place where people can find you on social media and connect with you?
Yeah, I'm also on Facebook as well. Like, Adrian Lozano, I'm on Facebook, Instagram. I just made a TikTok that just has like my yoga flows that I post on there. So if you're interested in seeing some cool yoga flows, TikTok, I'm at Lozano Flows, Lozano.flows as well.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, and I'm thinking of making a YouTube channel too. You got me inspired into doing YouTube. So,
Dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really thought about that for a long time, and I'm really glad I pulled the trigger on it like not that long ago because I'm having so much fun with it so far. So
Yeah,
I
I think
think
that's
you would
my
like
next
it.
thing. Yeah, that's my next thing. I might go into the YouTube space. So yeah, I'm kind of just trying things out.
Yeah.
It's been great. Like as long as I think for me, it's like the more people I can put an influence on. If I can influence anyone to be more positive, be more mindful, and to have more self-compassion, self-love, then why not?
Yeah, exactly. The one thing I noticed is that the more social media platforms you're on, just the more difficult it gets to balance everything.
Well,
There's
you got to find
it's
that balance.
Yeah, I know. It's so hard because I love posting on YouTube so much, but I'm like, damn, these videos take so long. And then trying to do the podcasts and like, I guess I kind of tie them together, but then like Instagram posts and like Facebook and all that stuff. It's like, damn, I don't know how people do it. That's why they have marketing teams, I guess.
Yeah, but I think like yes and no. But a lot of times, like because it's something that I'm passionate about, like I don't. I guess the YouTube would be a lot of energy, but I think like because like for you, I'm pretty sure you love doing all this, so it's not really like it's not like a work for you. It's just like, oh, I'm just talking to my friends about this thing that I love.
Yeah, I guess I feel like I like to try to stick to a schedule, and that's the hardest part for me because I'm like, oh, life
Uh,
comes up and you get busy with something, but I love it, man. And I think you really will too if you start YouTube.
yeah, and I will say this: I really enjoy the things that you produce, and it's really, really knowledgeable. And I'll say this, like, as being your client, you really help me think of like fitness and nutrition differently. Like counting the macros and doing all that. And it really just allowed me to see it differently and kind of not seeing it as a chore or like something I had to do, but something that was fun to learn and
Right.
learn how to work out. So that's something that's your gift. And it's really cool that you can do that.
Thank you, man. I think you'd agree. Like the whole thing with coaching that really feels great is to really teach people how to be autonomous with everything, how they can take what you teach them and really implement it themselves. That's
Yeah.
what that's what I really enjoy, just to try to teach people stuff.
Yeah. And I'm glad that I'm glad that you're sharing I mean, we're both coaches, so it's cool. Like, we can both, in different ways, we can both help make help make the world a better place.
Yeah, exactly, man. Exactly. And we're trying to do that with veganism too, of course.
Yes.
So do you have anything else you want to say in closing or anything we didn't touch on or anything you want to add on to?
No, just for everyone out there listening, just keep smiling and be positive.
Dude, I love your positivity, man. I always do.
Thank you, Ryan.
All right, Adrian. Thank you so much, man. Yeah, thank you guys for listening. And this was Adrian Lozano. If you guys want to check him out on his website, adrianlozano.com, right?
Oh, yeah. Yes. I
And
forgot to mention that
add
one.
him on
Thank you.
Instagram and Facebook and everything. All right. Thank you guys so much. See you guys in the next one. Peace.
Peace.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Aethix Approach podcast. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't already, it would mean a ton if you gave the podcast a follow on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Radio Public, Pocket Casts, Stitcher,